Whew, it's felt like all I've been doing is just being negative on this channel. So let's switch it up and talk about something that's seeming to be more positive. I mean, we don't know, and we're going to get into it. It may not be as it seems, but I want to talk about Mario Tennis Fever, because I'm actually hopeful for this game. I know it's shocking, but I'm still being careful. So Mario Tennis Fever, the reason that I'm excited for it in general is because Mario Tennis Aces for Switch 1 was honestly a lot of fun. That game's online was very good. Except for the balancing. It took them a bit to tweak some of the characters because Bowser Jr. was very strong in that game. I don't even remember where the meta ended up, but I remember he was just way too strong. But the online was great because you could see the connection. It had seasons. It was great. The one thing that Mario Tennis Aces was lacking, though, was the amount of features that were in it. Because they ended up doing drip feed content where there was free DLC, which sounds great, but it took a while for that to come out, so by the time some of it came out, you would just kind of naturally already be dipping from the game. I remember one of the updates allowed for you to do doubles online with a friend against 2 random people, and I believe it took a year and a half or so for that to come out. So that was crazy. But the game itself was very fun. So if we look at Mario Tennis Fever, it's already having stuff that I'm actually more excited for than what I was for what ended up being in Mario Tennis Aces. They talked about that there's new movement options, but to me it looked similar to what was in Mario Tennis Aces. They said that the slide was new, but that looks pretty reminiscent to stuff in Aces. But maybe it's just that now you don't have to use meter to go after the ball like that. But the feature that I'm most excited for is the Fever Rackets. Because in the previous Mario Tennis game, Mario Tennis Aces, there ended up just being characters that were just straight up better, and you kind of would end up picking from those characters. But now, if there are rackets that are better to use, you can select from a pool of rackets and still probably play as who you want. I say probably because I don't know if the characters will have stats on their own, but having the specials tied to the rackets I actually think is better, because I do think that it gives you more options in terms of which character you'll play as. And I would be kind of shocked if the characters themselves didn't have stats. It'd be weird if Bowser was just as fast as like Boo or something. So I would imagine that they do still have stats, but I think that the way that the rackets are set up, you could probably pick certain characters in certain rackets and be able to play a wider variety of characters. Hopefully. And I gotta say, the ice racket looks like it's OP. I mean, that thing looks freaking crazy. And I'm definitely using it because I love ice stuff, so it just kind of works out that it's OP. Or at least looks OP. We now have a talking flower as the announcer instead of Toad. Little bummed about that because I do think it's cool that they're using a new character for an announcer, because it is neat when Nintendo starts using some of their new characters, but I miss Toad. I love Toad. And even in one of the promotional images, you can see Toad in like that stand thing. So maybe he will still announce some things? Who knows? Either way, it's not a big deal. I just love Toad. And then when it comes to side modes, it's already looking more promising than Mario Tennis Aces, because right off the bat, we know we're going to get this tower mode, which kind of reminds me of something that was in one of the Mortal Kombat games. But this seems like an actual fun side mode to do, because it has a bunch of random event things that you do, and it's not just play some matches. Like, it actually has variety to it. Because there was something that they added in Mario Tennis Aces that ended up being free DLC, where you could do these different types of challenge things, and they actually went online, and you would try to do these challenges and you would unlock costumes for doing them, but that came as free DLC. So this being baked into the game, I think is great. Because one thing that seemed to kind of be a trend with these sports titles is that there ended up not being too much to do. I can definitely say that for Mario Tennis Aces and Mario Strikers Battle League. I don't remember Mario Golf Super Rush as much. I just remember not really being a big fan of it. But to see that this already has side modes, I think is very promising. But if this is the only side mode, then we're going to run into an issue. And then we get to what I would imagine a lot of us will end up spending the most time in, which is the online play. Now, this is where it could go one of two ways. It could either follow in the footsteps of Mario Tennis Aces and be a great online experience, or they could end up trying something different, and it's like, what the heck, guys, you actually had it before. Because you never know with Nintendo when it comes to online. They are so inconsistent, and you can just never trust how it's going to end up being. Even if they nail it in one game, you have no idea how it's going to be in another one. Because in Mario Tennis Aces, they had seasons, which would end after like a month or something, and then it would just relaunch a new season. So there was constantly a leaderboard to try to climb. And unlike Mario Strikers Battle League, there was no off season. Like, it just would reset into a new season. And you could check all the past seasons too. So it was worth it to try to see how high you could get up on a leaderboard, because you could always go back and look at it. And then another huge plus with the online was you could see the player's connection before you did the match, and you could actually decline the match. That was amazing. Now, for some people, it might sound weird the way I'm talking about it, but with Nintendo games, they don't always show the connection. So the fact that Mario Tennis Aces did is already a great sign for Mario Tennis Fever. But again, we have to be careful. We have to be excited responsibly, because just because they did it before does not mean they'll do it again. And then we have the story mode, which actually looks like fun. I think it's kind of tough to make some of these story modes. I think sometimes people might be asking for a little bit too much, but this seems really neat to me. I don't know how fun it'll end up being, but it seems neat. I like the concept, and I'll definitely do it. But now we get to the tricky part. Will this game actually be worth $70? That's where I have no clue. Because from what they showed, this game looks like fun. It seems like it can be promising. But I could also see it very easily falling into the category of, yeah, it's kind of lackluster. Because a lot of the newer sports titles have felt lackluster. But Mario Tennis Aces was the one sports title on the Switch 1 that I did have a lot of enjoyment with, and it's one that I played quite a bit. So we're going to have to wait and see on more details on how some of this stuff works. I'm going to be very, very, very disappointed if they honestly make the online not as fun as it was before. Because not even just the connection thing, like if they don't have it set up the same as Mario Tennis Aces, I'm actually concerned about how the ranked will work in general. There's no guarantee that it'll work like Aces with that season leaderboard. So I'm really hoping that they either just take the formula from Aces for online play, or they build upon it. But my goodness, am I going to be annoyed if they honestly go backwards. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit afraid of that. I have been burned so many times when it comes to Nintendo and online play that I won't be shocked if they go backwards. I'm also really excited to see what other characters are going to be in this game, because they said that it's the most in the game's history. I think they said 38. So I am very excited to see what other characters are in the game. But I would say overall, my main concerns are that the game could end up being lackluster. Like maybe there's not as much to do as it seems like, or maybe it'll just not take long to get bored of what's there. And my other concern is the online play. But in terms of the positives, I think this game does look cool, and I really do like the Fever Racket mechanic. I think it'll allow for players to have more personality with what characters they choose and what rackets they choose. And overall, I am hopeful for this game. But if they want to keep charging $70, it better have as much content as $70 should have. So only time will tell. But that's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments down below. Are you planning on getting Mario Tennis Fever? Are you going to skip it? Let me know in the comments down below. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.